MTC. Unit 09, No Analysis. Paul Laurence Dunbar, an African-American poet, was born on June 27, 1872. Paul Laurence Dunbar 1872627. By the age of 14, Dunbar had poems published in the Dayton Herald. 1-4 Dunbar Dayton Herald. While in high school he edited his high school newspaper. Despite being a fine student, Dunbar was financially unable to attend college and took a job as an elevator operator. Dunbar. In 1893, Dunbar published his first book, Oak and Ivy, at his own expense. 1893 Dunbar Oak and Ivy. In 1895, he published the second book, Majors and Minors, which brought him national and international recognition. 1895, Majors and Minors. The poems written in standard English were called majors, and those in dialect were termed minors. Majors, minors. Although the major poems in standard English outnumber those written in dialect, it was the dialect poems that brought Dunbar the most attention. Majors, Dunbar. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, No 01. Lithops are plants that are often called living stones on account of their unique rock-like appearance. Lithops. They are native to the deserts of South Africa but commonly sold in garden centers and nurseries. Lithops grow well in compacted, sandy soil with little water and extreme hot temperatures. Lithops. Lithops are small plants, rarely getting more than an inch above the soil surface and usually with only 2 leaves. Lithops. 1. The thick leaves resemble the cleft in an animal's foot or just a pair of grayish-brown stones gathered together. The plants have no true stem and much of the plant is underground. Their appearance has the effect of conserving moisture. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, No 02. Elizabeth Catlett was born in Washington, D.C. in 1915. Elizabeth Catlett 1915 Washington, D.C. As a granddaughter of slaves, Catlett heard the stories of slaves from her grandmother. Catlett. After being disallowed entrance from the Carnegie Institute of Technology because she was black, Catlett studied design and drawing at Howard University. Carnegie Institute of Technology, Catlett Howard. She became one of the first 3 students to earn a master's degree in fine arts at the University of Iowa. Iowa. Throughout her life, she created art representing the voices of people suffering from social injustice. She was recognized with many prizes and honors both in the United States and in Mexico. She spent over 50 years in Mexico, and she took Mexican citizenship in 1962. 50-1962. Catlett died in 2012 at her home in Mexico. Catlett 2012. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, No 03. Born in 1867, Sarah Breedlove was an American businesswoman and social activist. 1867 Sarah Breedlove. Orphaned at the age of 7, her early life was marked by hardship. 7. In 1888, she moved to St. Louis, where she worked as a washerwoman for more than a decade, earning barely more than $1 a day. 1888 St. Louis, 101. During this time, long hours of back-breaking labor and a poor diet caused her hair to fall out. She tried everything that was available but had no success. After working as a maid for a chemist, she invented a successful hair care product and sold it across the country. Not only did she sell, she also recruited and trained lots of women as sales agents for a share of the profits. In the process she became America's first self-made female millionaire and she gave black women everywhere an opportunity for financial independence. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, No 04. Jessie Redmond Fawcett was born in Snow Hill, New Jersey, in 1884. Jessie Redmond Fawcett 1884 New Jersey Snow Hill. She was the first black woman to graduate from Cornell University. Cornell University. In addition to writing novels, poetry, short stories, and essays, Fawcett taught French in public schools in Washington, D.C., and worked as a journal editor. Fawcett, Washington, D.C. While working as an editor, she encouraged many well-known writers of the Harlem Renaissance. Harlem Renaissance. Though she is more famous for being an editor than for being a fiction writer, many critics consider her novel Plum Bun Fawcett's strongest work. Plum Bun Fawcett. In it, she tells the story of a black girl who could pass for white but ultimately claims her racial identity and pride. Fawcett died of heart disease April 30, 1961, in Philadelphia. Fawcett 1961430 Philadelphia. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, No 05. Sigrid Unset was born on May 20, 1882, in Kalundborg, Denmark. Sigrid Unset 1882520 Kalundborg. She was the eldest of 3 daughters. She moved to Norway at the age of 2. Her early life was strongly influenced by her father's historical knowledge. At the age of 16, she got a job at an engineering company to support her family. 16. She read a lot, acquiring a good knowledge of Nordic as well as foreign literature, English in particular. She wrote 36 books. 36. None of her books leaves the reader unconcerned. She received the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1928. 1928. One of her novels has been translated into more than 80 languages. 80. She escaped Norway during the German occupation, but she returned after the end of World War II. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, No 06. Ellen Church was born in Iowa in 1904. Ellen Church 1904 Iowa. After graduating from Cresco High School, she studied nursing and worked as a nurse in San Francisco. Cresco, San Francisco. She suggested to Boeing Air Transport that nurses should take care of passengers during flights because most people were frightened of flying. Boeing Air Transport. In 1930, she became the first female flight attendant in the U.S. and worked on a Boeing 80A from Oakland, California to Chicago, Illinois. 1930 California Oakland Illinois Chicago Boeing 80A. Unfortunately, a car accident injury forced her to end her career after only 18 months. 18. Church started nursing again at Milwaukee County Hospital after she graduated from the University of Minnesota with a degree in nursing education. Church, Minnesota, Milwaukee County. During World War II, she served as a captain in the Army Nurse Corps and received an Air Medal. 2. Ellen Church Field Airport in her hometown, Cresco, was named after her. Cresco Ellen Church Field. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, No 07. George Boole was born in Lincoln, England in 1815. George Boole 1815 Lincoln. Boole was forced to leave school at the age of 16 after his father's business collapsed. Boole 16. He taught himself mathematics, natural philosophy, and various languages. He began to produce original mathematical research and made important contributions to areas of mathematics. For those contributions, in 1844, he was awarded a gold medal for mathematics by the Royal Society. 1844 Royal Society. Boole was deeply interested in expressing the workings of the human mind in symbolic form, and his 2 books on this subject, The Mathematical Analysis of Logic and An Investigation of the Laws of Thought, form the basis of today's computer science. Boole, The Mathematical Analysis of Logic and Investigation of the Laws of Thought. In 1849, he was appointed the first professor of mathematics at Queen's College in Cork, Ireland, and taught there until his death in 1864. 1849 Cork Queen's College 1864. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, No 08. Mary Cassatt was born in Pennsylvania, the fourth of 5 children born in her well-to-do family. Mary Cassatt, Pennsylvania. Mary Cassatt and her family traveled throughout Europe in her childhood. Mary Cassatt. Her family did not approve when she decided to become an artist, but her desire was so strong, she bravely took the steps to make art her career. She studied first in Philadelphia and then went to Paris to study painting. She admired the work of Edgar Degas and was able to meet him in Paris, which was a great inspiration. Edgar Degas. Though she never had children of her own, she loved children and painted portraits of the children of her friends and family. Cassatt lost her sight at the age of 70, and, sadly, was not able to paint during the later years of her life. Cassatt 70. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, No 09. James Van Der Zee was born on June 29, 1886, in Lenox, Massachusetts. James Van Der Zee 1886629 Massachusetts, Lenox. The second of 6 children, James grew up in a family of creative people. James. At the age of 14 he received his first camera and took hundreds of photographs of his family and town. By 1906, he had moved to New York, married, and was taking jobs to support his growing family. 1906, New York. In 1907, he moved to Foetus, Virginia, where he worked in the dining room of the Hotel Chamberlain. 1907, Virginia Foetus, Chamberlain. During this time he also worked as a photographer on a part-time basis. He opened his own studio in 1916. 1916. World War I had begun and many young soldiers came to the studio to have their pictures taken. 1. In 1969, the exhibition, Harlem on My Mind, brought him international recognition. 1969, Harlem on My Mind. He died in 1983. 1983. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, Number 10. Shirley Chisholm was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1924. Shirley Chisholm 1924 New York, Brooklyn. Chisholm spent part of her childhood in Barbados with her grandmother. Chisholm, Barbados. Shirley attended Brooklyn College and majored in sociology. Shirley, Brooklyn. After graduating from Brooklyn College in 1946, she began her career as a teacher and went on to earn a master's degree in elementary education from Columbia University. 1946 Brooklyn, Columbia. In 1968, Shirley Chisholm became the United States' first African-American congresswoman. 1968 Shirley Chisholm. She spoke out for civil rights, women's rights, and poor people. Shirley Chisholm was against the American involvement in the Vietnam War and the expansion of weapon developments. Shirley Chisholm. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, Number 11. Born in 1867 in Cincinnati, Ohio, Charles Henry Turner was an early pioneer in the field of insect behavior. 1867 Ohio, Cincinnati Charles Henry Turner. His father owned an extensive library where Turner became fascinated with reading about the habits and behavior of insects. Turner. Proceeding with his study, Turner earned a doctorate degree in zoology, the first African American to do so. Turner. Even after receiving his degree, Turner was unable to get a teaching or research position at any major universities, possibly as a result of racism. Turner. He moved to St. Louis and taught biology at Sumner High School, focusing on research there until 1922. St. Louis Sumner 1922. Turner was the first person to discover that insects are capable of learning, illustrating that insects can alter behavior based on previous experience. Turner. He died of cardiac disease in Chicago in 1923. 1923 Chicago. During his 33-year career, Turner published more than 70 papers. 33 Turner 70. His last scientific paper was published the year after his death. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 09, Number 12. Tomás Luis de Victoria, the greatest Spanish composer of the 16th century, was born in Avila and as a boy sang in the church choir. 16. Tomás Luis de Victoria Avila. When his voice broke, he went to Rome to study and he remained in that city for about 20 years, holding appointments at various churches and religious institutions. 20. In Rome, he met Palestrina, a famous Italian composer, and may even have been his pupil. Palestrina. In the 1580s, after becoming a priest, he returned to Spain and spent the rest of his life peacefully in Madrid as a composer and organist to members of the royal household. 1580. He died in 1611, but his tomb has yet to be identified.